Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's sports podcast. Now, this week's podcast has been a bit on the fly because I haven't done any preparation at all, so hopefully I won't miss anything. But time constraints have meant that I'm actually being able to write my notes like I normally do. But there will be some structure to it as normal. So I'm going to start with football, um, and we're going to talk about the international break and the fact that England failed to beat Hungary after an easy victory against Andorra. 5-0 Andorra last Saturday was followed up by a 1-1 draw at Wembley on Tuesday. Disappointing performance by England. Good performance by Hungary. They stuck to the plan. They tried to suss England out, and to some degree it worked, and that's how they got a result. Penalty scored by Hungary to give them a lead. A bit of an unfortunate situation. I think it was one of those where it was a penalty, but there was no malice intended by Luke Shaw. He caught the player on the head as he put his boot up. He put his head into where the foot was on the ball, and they caught him. And in this day and age, I suppose that's a penalty, which they scored, took the lead. England did manage to get back in the game, but we couldn't quite finish them off, and we were a bit lacking a bit cutting edge up front, shall we say, to say the least. Bit surprised that the first substitution was Jack Grealish. He won a free kick, which led to England's equaliser, whipped in by Phil Foden and headed in at the far post by John Stones. He also scored again, actually, another chance, but it came off his shoulder. But when Grealish went off, it was disappointing because I thought he'd been the best player for England at that point. Foden performed okay, but Kane and Sterling were both really poor, peripheral to the game. And obviously since then it's come out the story about Sterling of maybe wanting to leave Manchester City. Whether that affects his performance on the night, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the fact that he isn't playing that well at the moment. But Pep's obviously leaving out of the Man City team for a reason. He doesn't feel he makes it into the first 11, so you can deduce from that what you like. But it was a poor performance overall by England. My personal view was Gareth seems to be more comfortable having two of his holding midfielders in there. We missed Calvin Phillips. He should have started Jordan Henderson perhaps if he wanted to go down that route, but no, he went for the attacking route, but he didn't seem to know what to do with them. Like an embarrassment of riches, but he didn't know how to make the best of effectively. So England struggled to get anything other than a draw. Poland beat Albania. It still looks like England are going to qualify anyway because they've got 2 games left. They've got Albania at home, I think, and San Marino away. They're going to beat San Marino, surely. Even Andorra beat them 3-0 the other night, so they must be really poor. I think Town would probably beat both Andorra and San Marino, to be quite truthful. So disappointing week for England, but still going to be qualifying for the World Cup. In the other home countries, Wales are doing well at the moment. They look like they might have a good chance of making the playoffs now. They've got 2 games left, and if they can win the next one, and somehow Belgium don't win the next game, I can't remember playing, but it's somebody should easily beat. We can actually play Belgium at home in the last game to try and knock them out, or knock them out of the automatic qualifying spot. It's highly unlikely. I thought that scenario will occur, but Wales are in a good situation to qualify. I think we need 4 points out of the next 2 games because they've got 2 games left, and Czech Republic have only got 1. So they'll be looking for 4 points there. Scotland are still over a shout as well. They had victories against Israel 3-2, a last minute or injury time winner last Saturday by Scott McTominay, and then they won comfortably well, not comfortably, they won in Faroe Islands late on actually. So they've won those 2 games. They overshot again. They're not going to get automatic qualifying players, but they've got a good chance of the playoff places. Northern Ireland were 1-up in Bulgaria on Tuesday night. They lost 2-1 in the end up, and that's probably finished their slim hopes of getting anywhere in their group. And likewise, Republic of Ireland aren't really in with a shout of winning. They did beat Azerbaijan last Saturday, but we didn't play on Tuesday. They played a friendly against Qatar, which they won 4 or 5-0, and Callum Robinson scored 5 goals in the last 2 games. But the problem is that he's scoring against teams that aren't really very good, so he needs to be scoring against teams that are good, and that's what Ireland's problem's been, Republic of Ireland. So they're probably not going to qualify either, the 2 islands, so not looking too good for them. So that's what's happening in the international world. And now obviously it's over now as the international break, and we're back with the Premier League this weekend. I had a quick look through the fixtures, and there weren't any that really stood out to me, but the one that probably is the important one that people might look at because of the way they started is Brentford against Chelsea, because Brentford are at home to Chelsea, and they've already given a few teams a few surprises, and I think they could give Chelsea a bit of a surprise as well, especially coming off the back of the international break. Chelsea's players might not be fully focused on it yet, on the game after they've been away, some of them, so you never know. The other games this weekend I caught my eye a little bit were Everton and West Ham, which is I should mention the Brentford games at 5:30 on Saturday night. That's on Sky. Everton and West Ham. It's a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, I think. and Newcastle's a 4:30 game. They're both Sky matches, I believe. Monday night, Arsenal Crystal Palace against Sky, and then we've got the other game that I saw of importance really was probably Leicester and Man United. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow afternoon. So they're the key games I can think of. Villa at home to Wolves, and Leeds are away to Southampton. So no great big games there of any really mega importance, but just to get some Premier League football back on TV and stuff after the international break's great for people that follow it. Moving away from that, it's the fourth qualifying round in the FA Cup this weekend, and Halifax having won at Ilkley in the West Riding Cup 3-1 on Tuesday night, and having beaten Weymouth in the league last Saturday comfortably to maintain the third place in the league. They beat Weymouth 2-0. They go on to face Pontefract Colleries tomorrow in the fourth qualifying round in the FA Cup. They should beat Pontefract Colleries. It'll be a major disappointment if they don't. And they'll be in the draw, which is on ITV, I think, at 1:05 on Sunday afternoon. Just check your TV listings, but it's definitely on one of the ITV channels at 1:05. I had a quick look through the other games. The ones that stood out to me were Marine against Wrexham, and also Curzon Ashton against Chesterfield. They're the ones that I looked at. So, it's the dream ticket for these non-league teams. We've been there when we reformed in 2008, so we know what it's like to play one of the big fish, but ideally, I think Halifax's hopes will be to get through this game, then get a couple of home ties in the first and second round to draw themselves a Premier or a Championship team in the third round, if they can possibly get that far. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully they will make it that far. Okay, moving on now from football, and we're going to talk about boxing briefly, because Deontay Wilder was knocked out by Tyson Fury. Eventually last Saturday there were 5 knockdowns in the fight, and eventually Fury showed his class and his weight, because he's got about 3 stone weight advantage, but he won for a knockout blow. He said he knew but when he'd hit him that was it. That's why I went to celebrate on the ropes straight away. He was right. So interested to see what happens next for Fury and for Wilder. Wilder may not fight anymore, possibly. I don't know if he's announced anything yet, but Fury's he's the best one out there at the moment. Usyk's going to have a rematch again with Joshua. Be interested to see if he fights him next, or what happens next for Fury, but keep your eyes on that if you're interested in boxing. It's not really my thing, but that's what's going on there. Moving away from that boxing, and we're moving on to rugby league, the grand final last weekend. I watched the championship one live, and Toulouse beat Featherstone fairly comfortably in there, and they were 16-0 up at half time, and Featherstone fought back a little bit in the second half, and I think they got a bit complacent, did Toulouse, and I think Featherstone thought they had a chance, but they didn't really. They made a few mistakes. Once they got it back to 22-12, I think they made a couple more mistakes, and they ended up losing 34-12 in the end up. So Toulouse will be in the Super League next year, and they'll be playing the new Grand Champions. Well, not new Grand Champions, because it's St Helens. They beat Catalan 12 points to 10 in the grand final at Old Trafford last Saturday. From the highlights that I watched on the Sunday, it seemed that St Helens had most of the game and were probably worthy winners, but Catalans had the chances, and a couple of decisions probably went against them, which may have resulted in a different outcome. But then again, you don't ever know what really might happen if some other events had taken place. But so St Helens defended the title effectively. Catalans will feel unlucky because they've been the best team probably over the season. They were finished top of the table, but that means nothing. They get the league leaders shield, but with a playoff system, unfortunately, it means very little. So they'll be disappointed. But yeah, well done to St Helens and well done to Toulouse. Still talking about playoffs. In the world of speedway, last night Peterborough completed victory in their playoff final against Bellevue at the East of England Arena. They ran out 51-39 winners on the evening, and that made them victors overall by 10 points on aggregate. The first leg at the National Speedway Stadium on Monday was much more entertaining than the second leg at Peterborough last night. 46-44 at Bellevue was the first leg results, but they couldn't defend the lead. Bellevue had won twice at Peterborough early in the season, but it's different in the final, and unfortunately for Bellevue, their engine room riders, both Worrell brothers and Charles Wright, had poor nights, and that cost them really, plus the fact that Peterborough had Bjarne Pedersen at reserve, who performed fantastically well for them. If you're going to watch any race from last night's meeting, make sure you watch Heat 13, when Dan Bewley basically tried to keep his team in it, which he did. He managed to pass both Michael Palmtoft and Chris Harris within the last half a lap, basically. Down the back straight to one of them, and then on the last bend he passed the other one to get through and sit on the line, take a victory and keep the match alive until Heat 14, but all was in vain really. So Bewley performed brilliantly for Bellevue, but also a bright spot was Tom Brennan, scored 11 points I think from 7 rides. It'll give him some confidence going into this weekend's Speedway of Nations event. So like I say, congratulations to Peterborough on winning the Premiership playoffs in the Speedway. And now we're on to the Speedway of Nations this weekend at Bellevue, Saturday and Sunday. Looking at the lineups, you've got to fancy probably either Great Britain or Poland to win this. You can never count Denmark out, I guess, but I think it might be between those 2 or 3 teams. Ty Wuffenden and Robert Lambert are the Team GB's main riders, and Tom Brennan is the under-21 rider. I believe they have to have 1 ride. I wasn't sure about this, but I've been told they have to have at least 1 ride, so that'll be interesting as well. Gives them experience at a big occasion, so that's something to look forward to this weekend. The weather forecast looks okay-ish at the moment, so tomorrow's alright. Sunday could be a bit iffy, but we'll see. And then on Tuesday night, Team Great Britain take on Poland in a test match up at Glasgow. That should see a sellout crowd, I would have thought. It's a long way to travel for us, so that's why I'm not going. It's on a Tuesday night, and there's no guarantee the weather will be good on Tuesday either. Hopefully it will be. But both sides are running their Speedway of Nations squads as the team members. So that's 5 riders each side. And then Adam Ellis has been added to the Team GB side to complete the 6-man team. And Tobias Musilak is the 6th rider for Poland. So it should be a good occasion provided the weather plays ball. So if you're up in that part of the world and you haven't already got a ticket, have a look, see if there's some left, but it should be a good occasion. It's a long time since we've seen a test match between Britain and Poland, and so hopefully it will be a good night for everyone concerned. Okay, and now we're going to move on to talk about stock cars. And in the stock car world this weekend, we've got meetings coming up at a welcome return to Mildenhall. Mildenhall Stadium tomorrow evening for, I think it's a World Championship qualifying round. I'm not sure if it's a shootout round as well. And then Sunday afternoon we've got a meeting at Northampton as well. I'm just going to check those in a moment actually to see what the situation is. But certainly of some importance because the lineups are quite good. Basically, we've got good turnouts. All the top drivers are there, as you'd expect. In the shootout so far, I think we've had 4 rounds so far. Tom Harris leads the way fairly comfortably for Frankie Wayman Jr. and then Ryan Harrison's in 3rd place. They've all won one of the rounds. The finals are one of the rounds so far. Last weekend at Skegness, I think Tom won the final on Saturday and Ryan won the final on Sunday. So that's put them back in the shout. So should be a good meeting to go to. Again, hopefully the weather will be alright. I think they had 46 or 47 cars booked at Mildenhall and 53 at Northampton on the Sunday. So they're good turnouts. So get yourself along there if you're in the local area and enjoy stock car racing, Formula 1 stock car racing, because you don't always get to see them in that part of the world these days. So there you go with the stock cars. Today sees the final of the IPL. It's the Chennai Super Kings against Kolkata Knight Riders even. Owen Morgan's team, he'll be hoping to win it. We've got the T20 World Cup actually starts on Sunday, so that's why the final needs to be now. But Owen Morgan's team's got to final. I saw the semi-final. They scraped home. They almost got knocked out in the end up after looking like they were cruising. And Morgan himself scored a duck, I think, off 3 balls. But he'll be looking for a better performance today. CSK no mugs, and it should be a good match. I'll try and watch a bit if I get a chance. But it starts at 3 o'clock today. The final, CSK against Kolkata Knight Riders. I think that's probably all that I want to cover this week. I think I've covered most of the main events. I apologise if I missed anything, but I think all the main stuff's been there. And I've got to say that that's about it really. And I hope you've enjoyed watching as normal, and I'll see you all again next week.